What if you could see your success before it happens? Whether it's changing your nutrition, your fitness, your mindset, whatever that looks like, this is the episode for you. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. In today's episode, we discuss how the power of visualization can help you unlock your potential. As we go into 2025, we want to make sure that you have a strong mindset surrounding what you want and how you're going to get it. So if you're ready, listen up and lean in as we elevate your mind.
Perfect. I was gonna say perfect timing because I'm done pumping now, actually. So now they don't have to hear the compressor, and Amanda I can fix my camera.
Yeah, all Amanda does is feed and pump.
I know.
Feed, pump, and dump it.
I know. Michael was trying to get me a pump and dump this weekend. I was like, it's too much like mathing to figure out hours and whatnot.
Why do you need a pump and dump? Because he wanted you to have a cocktail?
Yeah, he wanted me to have a glass of wine. I was like, ugh, I'd love a glass of wine, but then I have to figure out like, do we have enough? Blah, blah, blah. Then I got to feed her. Like, it's just too much math. I was like, no.
Too much math.
Yeah, I'd just rather not drink.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about all the things, as you guys haven't heard from Amanda in a couple of weeks. But don't forget to check out the show notes below to fast forward to the topic of visualization. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with anyone who needs a little inspiration. So we have a child. Tell everyone.
I have a baby. Yeah.
We'll give you a little segments of the babyness. So where do you want to start?
Well, I guess we should probably start with like the beginning as far as like the labor.
I don't want to hear about your sex life.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's
not that far beginning,
anyways, so that's fine.
Yeah.
The labor, that was interesting. So I went to the OBGYN on Wednesday. She was technically due that Thursday. And I don't know, like I didn't know how much she weighed, or I don't know, like the estimates of like when people are like, how much is your baby gonna weigh? I'm like, I have no idea. So we asked him, and then he like measured her to be like 4 pounds, which is really, really small. And so then it sent us into panic. So we had to go to high risk OBGYN. They did another like thorough ultrasound. And that gal was like, so you guys are just now figuring this out? And I'm like, okay, like, thanks, ma'am.
Thanks, bitch. Those like the guys in the hospital, like, you know, their tumor is huge. And my dad's like, no.
Yeah. Like, thanks for letting me know in the most unpleasant way. And she's like, well, so much for like standards of practice. And I'm like, okay, again, thank you. And so she's like looking around. She's like, well, have you felt your baby hiccup? And I was like, no. And she's like, you've never felt your baby hiccup? And I was like, no.
Who the fuck is this bitch? And why does she have terrible bedside manner? I will go kick her ass.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And then she's like, well, I can't really see the lungs. And like when the hiccuping like means like that they're practicing breathing and stuff and whatnot. So Michael and I are just like, what the fuck? And so she's like measures that the baby, and she's like, okay, they're like 6 something. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a big difference between 6 and 4. Yeah. And so the high risk doctor said, don't worry about it, you're good. And so I thought, okay, whatever, like I'll try and get into labor still. So then on Friday, the following day, the OBGYN office called me that I needed to be induced Monday morning. And I was like, what the fuck?
So annoying.
Yeah. So then I had
could have been induced that night.
Well, and that's it. Like there's so many like things like now that I can not be in the middle of it. I was like, okay, so if it was an emergency, I would need to be induced like ASAP. But also now I've got like 72 hours where I'm sitting with this going like, is the baby okay? Like, or do
that's
like
what I talked to my Uber driver about this. I was like, my friend is like, and I was telling her because she was telling me about her kids, and then we had a whole conversation because I'm like, now she just has to sit there and like be worried that her baby's not growing. Like,
yes,
I was so mad.
I know,
but I didn't want to tell you how mad I was to make you were.
Well,
scared.
Michael was really upset, obviously, because he was like, what the fuck? Like, how did like. And so
how did we get here?
Honest, like we kind of lost trust in the doctor for a little bit because this was a doctor and is a doctor that's like highly recommended by a lot of like the community that I work with. And so I was kind of like, why am I getting this different experience then? Like what happened? And so Monday, I just started making a list of all my questions because I talked to the doula Saturday and I was like, okay, so what the hell, like, is this induction? Like, what does that actually mean? And what is the process? And so I was like, okay, I'll have a baby Monday then. Like, fine, we'll be done with it. And she's like, oh no, it could be like a 4-day thing. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So she was really great and like walking me through all of that stuff of like, this is the process, this is what to expect. So great. So Monday morning we go to the hospital and the doctor comes in and I like before he says anything, he's like, okay, hi, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have questions. Like, I just need to like kind of piecemeal some stuff together. And then he like totally took his time and like explained everything and just like sat there and was like, I understand like that this all kind of happened quickly. He goes, but he's like, you can do nothing. Like you don't have to do any of this. And he was like, but if you're not going to do anything, you're going to do it here because I can't monitor you and baby if you're at home. And if something happens, then like minutes are crucial. And so he's like, you can keep doing like, there's like a mile circuit. You can go for walks. We can get you a ball. We can do all of these things. And he's like, you're welcome to. And I was like, no, I mean, I feel like I've already been doing like all the things that you can do to induce labor. So then we walk through like what it's going to look like. So I ended up getting, I forget what it's like, Cytodex or Certidel or something like that. So basically it's like a medicine they put, either you can take it orally or vaginally. So they put that in my hoo-ha and that like starts
ripens your cervix.
Yes.
As
and
you told me.
So you do that and then you do that every 4 hours. So for 2 hours you have to lay down, then 2 hours you can move around. So the first like I was like, okay, great, sets. Like we'll do sets of this. And so like the first time I'm like squatting, going for a walk, like doing like mobility in the room. Then it was like I was eating and all of a sudden I was like, oh fuck, ow. And so then the second round we did, and that's when like just the cascade started of everything. And yeah, it was like holy, like period cramps times 1,000. And so I was like, okay,
not here for that.
No, was not there for that either. So that was wonderful. And then so once that's done, that ripens your cervix. So then I was at like, I think like 2 centimeters dilated. And I was like, oh my fuck, like, okay. So then they did the balloon, which like opens it. And so it puts pressure. And so the balloon falls out at 6 centimeters dilated. So I was like, okay, please fall out, please fall out, please fall out. And it's in there for
like
12
me when
hours.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's like me when I'm sprinting for 10 minutes. I'm like, when does it say walk?
Yeah. You're like, help. So I was like, okay, we've got 12 hours of that. So they put that in and then immediately I just started barfing my brains out. So that was super sexual. I know. So like, it was great.
Jesus. I don't know why people do this.
I know there's so much where I'm like, wow. And then, so then that started going south pretty quickly. Cause it was just like uber pressure and uber like
I've never heard of anyone barfing when
he said it's normal because of like the pressure and the pain. And then you're laying down cause they have to like insert it. And
I guess pressure. Yeah.
2 of them. And so then they fill it up with, every hour or something. I forget cause like the whole thing is a weird like event for me now. So they fill it up on a time scale. And so they just keep pumping like more stuff in there to give it more pressure. So this is when things started getting really hairy. And so we're just kind of hanging out, like I'm trying to just manage it and whatnot. So then at night it started getting worse. Michael and I are just like trying to figure it out. I go in the water in the bath and stuff because that's the only thing that feels good, and shower. So like every time she puts in more of the whatever it is, I go into the shower because it's like, if I can do this, then this is like kind of my pain relief for a little bit, but I can't go in there too long because then the baby's heart rate, like the baby gets too hot. So I'm like, fuck. So 2 a.m. we call the doula because it's like chaos. She comes in, she's like, Michael, you go to bed, like lay down. She turns off all the lights, puts candles around, puts like this little like ambiance light thing. I'm in the bath. She's like, you just hang out in there, but then you're going to take a nap. So I ended up getting fentanyl. So I got fentanyl at this time.
What?
Yeah. Because that
seems not okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, but I mean, there's other options.
So I got fentanyl, and I kept saying like, you mean the fentanyl? And they like didn't want to like, they'd be like, well, yeah, pain management. I'm like, so fentanyl. Like
I had Dilaudid when I had my history or one of my things that I had.
Yeah.
Which is like old school.
So they gave me a dose of that, and she's like, go to sleep, like take a nap as much as you can, because tomorrow, so this is Monday going into Tuesday, she's like, tomorrow's going to be like a big day. And so if you're not prepared for it, like it's not going to go well. And I was like, okay. So I was like, give me the fentanyl. So I took that, and then I asked for more so I could pass out. So I passed out for like 4 hours, woke up, ate, and then they started the Pitocin that day. So that's to start contractions. And so with the balloon, I didn't dilate. I only dilated to like 4 or 5 centimeters. So I was like, fuck.
You have this balloon up you and it's not working. What is going on?
I have the balloon for 12 hours. It's not doing, so it didn't fall out. So I was like, fuck, like that means I didn't get to 6 centimeters. Yeah. So then I get the Pitocin the next day. I made sure I ate because I was like, I need to eat. I'm about to go like not be able to eat. And so I got the Pitocin, and then probably around, I don't even know the time. Like all of a sudden, so I was sitting backwards on the toilet because it's called like the dilation station. It's supposed to help open up yourself. And all of a sudden I'm just screaming like, I know. So like, and I just start sobbing and like breaking down like, oh my God, like this is horrible. So I'm like so uncomfortable. The only thing I can do is like stand and I count to 30. So if I count to 30, like that's a contraction, let it pass. Then I get a break, 30. And so I'm just doing that for like hours. And I can't lay down because that's uncomfortable. I can't sit on a ball because that's uncomfortable. So I'm literally just like on the edge of the hospital bed, gripping it and like screaming into the mattress. And so Michael's just like, like what?
Like you did this to me, Michael.
Yes. And so I didn't know this. So then the doula came. She's like, let's get on hands and knees. Let's try and like get in some positions, because I would have just stayed the same because it's so like debilitating. So I'm on my hands and knees and I'm like looking at Michael like, I can't do this. Like, I need the epidural. Like, I don't have to do this anymore. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm in so much pain. And he's like, hun, no. And I'm like, what? Like, I like looked at him like, I'm going to fucking stab you right now. And he's like, no, hun, like you don't want to. And I was like, I do want to. Like, this is not worth it. Like, fuck this. And he's like, no, you're going to be so upset with yourself. We're not going to do it. And he's just like passively sitting there like, hun, no, it's okay. Like, we're not doing it. You didn't want to.
I hate you. He's on my shit list.
So
I would have given you epidural.
I know.
I'm like, fucking crack. I don't care. Her misery.
Yeah. So I was like looking at him like, you have to be fucking kidding me. Like, you don't even know what this is like. Like, and so then the doula's like, she goes, let's just give it 30 more minutes and assess where you're at. Like, let's do a cervical check and then we'll go from there. And I'm like, okay, like fine, 30 more minutes. I can like however many 30 counts of seconds that is for me. So by then I went into labor and like, I didn't know. So that's called the transition phase where you're like, oh, fuck this. I want out. But you don't know that you're in it. And I didn't know I was in it. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my God, I have to shit so bad. Like, I thought I just like, this is going to sound so gross, but I thought like I had the biggest poop coming out of my butthole like there could ever be. Yeah. And it was so uncomfortable. And I was like just pushing. They kept asking me like, are you pushing? Like, do you feel like you need to push or you feel like you need to push? I'm like, I don't know. Like because I couldn't talk during it. Oh yeah. Cause you can't like, it's like I just like, and so someone would talk to me and I'd be like, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. I cannot answer anything. I cannot think. And so then I somehow got on the bed and I somehow got in side lying position, which I didn't expect me to give birth in, but that's okay. So I was in side lying position.
Side lying?
Yeah. So I was like on my side and like, you know how you sleep on your side?
Yeah.
And so one leg would be straight and the other leg I would bring up like my knee and push. so
of course you'd have some sort of like athletic stance.
Yeah, well, apparently
like a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. Apparently I was like, come on body, come on body, like push. Yeah. Push it. Yeah, push. And so I'd be like, ah! And so I would scream the whole fucking time. And so then I would take a break. And so the doctor comes in and so he's like, he's very like, can I touch you? And I just like gave him thumbs up as my like consent because I couldn't speak. And so he'd be like, I'm going to touch you. Can I do that? Yes. This fucking do whatever you need to do, doctor. Like, I don't give a fuck. And so he'd like touch me and be like, you need to push here. You need to push here. So then I would have to reach.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was very helpful. So then my cervix got caught on her head. And so he had to move my cervix out of the way. And then she had to come. I know.
I'm squeezing every part of my vagina at this point. That doesn't have a cervix nor uterus, but I'm going to squeeze whatever parts are left.
Yeah. So that, and then like as soon as she came out, it was like, what, so then she came out, they put her on me, and then that was that. So that was my.
Did you cry?
Labor. I didn't cry then, because you're just like, I was just like in such shock of like feeling this thing like come through me. And like, and then I'm having like, I'm pulling on my knee to make room. They're pushing like one of my foot, I'm pushing against the nurse. Then they're also moving the heart rate monitor, because that was the other thing. I had to be on the monitors the whole time because of her size and then their concern for her. And so they're like moving the heart rate monitors the whole time. And so it was interesting because like heart rate monitors starts high up on your belly. And then like by the end, it was like down on my vagina, like on my like pubic bone. And so, and then you like feel as she's coming out, like I had to like push, stop. And then all of a sudden, because so it's like, think of like a rubber band to make it stretchy. I'm going to pull, relax. And so same thing happens with your downstairs. So she comes out and it's just like this overwhelming sense of like, oh my God, like you're just so exhausted. Sure. And so then I was like, holy shit, I just had a baby. So it was really wild.
Crazy.
I know.
Yeah, it sounds like wild. I still haven't met her, everyone. So, then this,
no one really has.
Okay, they better not. I was fucking pissed.
Well, like my neighbor texted me. She's like, "Oh, we'd be happy to come over whenever you're ready." I'm like, "Let me like wear a shirt consistently because I don't because I'm like breastfeeding and figuring it out. So like to wear a bra or anything is like why it's gonna come off in an hour."
Yeah, it was weird because I was like so concerned. I've never been concerned like that in a long time.
Really?
I mean, with my dad, of course, but like it was a different concern. It was different. It was like, I know she's going through this really hard thing right now, but it's like something she wants. So, it's like, I was like, I'll just text Michael. I text you, and then you didn't even, I mean, she has her red receipts on, so I'm like, well, she hasn't even read it. I'm like, I'll text Michael. I go, I'm texting both of you like a crazy ex-girlfriend. I told him.
Yeah, that's it. He's like, Christina's been texting me. I'm like, I didn't look at my phone, and I had 130 text messages. And I was like, holy
I figured that was what was going on. Well, I'm glad I have his number. Yes. Everyone who doesn't, I do.
Yeah, every so often he'll just start laughing randomly. And I'm like, oh, what are we laughing about from labor this time? And so he'll be like he'll tell me something that I said, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
So we're just waiting. I'm waiting for the pictures because then I want to like be like, oh yeah, that part I forgot.
Who takes the pictures? The doula?
The doula does, yeah. So
that's nice.
Yeah, she was worth her weight in gold. I like could not. She literally saved us that one night because it was going south because we didn't know what to do, And the nurse was like, "Didn't you guys hire a doula?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Where is she?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know, like, if she really needs to be here right now since it's like just kind of not the real labor." And she's like, "I would call her." I was like, "Okay." Like,
oh, that's nice. We love a good nurse. Shout out to all our nurses.
Awesome nurses, awesome hospital staff. Like, I could not recommend it overall. Like, despite the catch and the giddy up, like I would do it again with all of those people.
It's crazy to think that this was just a thought in your mind that you visualized that is now a baby.
I know.
So that takes us to our topic today of visualization and the power of it. I interrupt this episode to bring you our December promo, and this is our introductory offer on the Mindset Method Movement, our revamped group coaching program. This program is unlike any other group coaching program out on the market and is going to be priced so competitively because we want everyone to take advantage of this. In our program, you will begin working from the inside out on your relationship with your body, food, and self-worth through the Mindset Method curriculum. In my Mindset Matter app, every Monday, you will receive a reflection that will help you work through why you struggle with control over food, why your food noise is so loud, why you hate the image you see in the mirror. Then from there, you get to take the information that you've learned and bring it to one of 2 coaching calls per week. Yes, per week. And for those who sign up now, you'll be working directly with me. So you get to process all of that stuff with yours truly. You'll also get access to our on-demand training program that includes gym, at-home, time crunch, body weight, and core workouts that change every single month and all build on each other to basically create the body of your dreams. You will get custom nutrition coaching from one of my expert coaches, depending on your specific needs, whether that's autoimmune issues, peri-post menopause, prenatal or postnatal, or general nutrition. We have someone here at the Mindset It Matter for you. And last but not least, you will have access to an amazing community of like-minded individuals who are looking to do something different in regards to changing their relationship with themselves mentally and physically. And for this introductory offer, we are offering our group coaching program for $275 a month with a 30-day cancellation notice. This is literally the same price that other coaching programs charge just for nutrition coaching. And if you sign up in December, you will be moved right into our Winter Wellness Challenge. You're going to jump right in, and we're going to do that at no additional cost. So you can start working with us today at no additional costs. So if you're ready to change your relationship with yourself through your mindset, through your movement, through your nutrition, check out the show notes below for more information. Now, back to the show. I cannot tell you, this process of visualization has worked for me over and over and over again. And it's quite frankly kind of crazy, to be honest with you. I agree.
Yep.
There is, and I'm in my new office, which I'll talk about on next episode. I don't know where my books are, but I have this. I think I talked about it. I have that little notebook that I used to write all my visualizations down in, and the ones that came true are like insane. And so I thought, with the new year coming up, visualization is such a wonderful thing for really anything you want in life, because we've got to think about the fact that our slogan is what I say in my mind, what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. And the reason why that's so important is if you can tell your mind that something's already happening, it already has proof and is going to look to confirm, or it already has a seed planet. And it's going to look to confirm whatever it is you told it that is happening, right? Whether that's good or bad. And the way that I really understood this was I had a very negative mindset. I always thought about what I didn't have, what everyone else, got over me, blah, blah, blah. And the more that I thought about that, the more that it showed up. So my brain was confirming that I wasn't good enough, or, I was never going to find a partner that I loved, and blah, blah, blah. So in my mind, as I learned this process, I thought, well, that's true. Like, I keep thinking of these negative things and I keep getting more of them. If that's true, then the opposite has to also be true. Mm-hmm. If I think of good things will happen to me. And then I began my journey of visualization, as they call it in the world, manifestation. But really, from a psychological perspective, there are things in your brain that will help create what people call manifesting. There's actual processes, reticular activation system, your confirmation bias, that will actually create this for you. Because, and actually I'll get into it, but how do you use visualization?
So first I thought of two things for you, is that you actually use this with your life coaching clients too, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I thought I was like, I'm pretty sure she had me do that at one point. For me, I use it on I have a notes on my phone. Where is it? It was initially a 5-year plan, and it started in September. Mm-hmm. So 6 months before September of 2019. So whatever that is. So I've had it since 2019. And what I did was every month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years was kind of list out the things that I'd like to see. And then as I go through life and remember that I made that list, I'll go back and cross them out. And actually a majority of them have happened. Now, for me, I wasn't I'm going to move to New York City and become a Broadway actress. They were all realistic goals if I actually did them, but it was putting my mind to them and then having that already in the background of this is what I want to do. So that way my brain, almost thinking of it, makes that automatic transition because it has, you're saying, the substance already seated in there. And so now
Correct.
I'm just finding stuff to grow and cultivate it, as opposed to that negativity where I could grow and cultivate that. But I mean, this could work for, like you said, your exercise, nutrition, your love life, your financial goals, because I had those in there, like
Career.
housing goals, career goals. I've had all of those in there. It depends on like where you're at and what you want to see. And it doesn't have to say like, okay, this is my exercise goals for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. But it could be all of the things too.
Right. The process of visualization is creating really that mental image or picture of what you desired and the desired outcome, scenario, or goal. So for me, it was visualizing myself with a partner who I could travel with, someone that I had a lot of fun with, someone that was very kind to me, right? Feeling those feelings, right? You want to use, your imagination and see yourself achieving whatever that is and experiencing that event and like having this kind of full body experience of being in that state or being or whatever it is. Because again, if I put our bodies through the motions, even if it hasn't happened, our body will again begin to familiarize itself with anything that looks like, sounds like, smells like, feels like that thing. And so this technique leverages the brain's ability to stimulate reality, helping to focus thoughts, emotions, and actions toward actually achieving that goal. And so, for those of you listening, we're going to walk you through some steps, but honestly, I have, and I'll link it here, this meditation manifestation that helps walk you through this whole thing. And I've used it since day one of my healing journey. I still use it today when I'm feeling a bit like down and out. It's amazing. And it's just this guy's voice. And I could literally tell you it verbatim if I wanted to at this point. But, the interesting thing about visualization too, that I really I don't think we touch on this, but I want people to understand that sometimes you will visualize something and it will come to you in a way that isn't exactly what you imagined. But the way that I think about this too is whenever I'm visualizing, I'm telling myself, I accept this or something better. And that something better doesn't necessarily doesn't always have a road of good. You may have to go through some things, some slow times, I've talked about my husband when he entered the hospital, like I was visualizing us having this time together to be with each other, to, reconnect. And it was supposed to be on a beach in Thailand. But 2 days before we left, his lung collapsed and we ended up in the hospital. We had the time together. We reconnected. We did all the things that I had visualized. So sometimes, and I realized with that story that us being in the hospital was actually better than what we would have had experienced in Thailand because we were going with a group of people and I had found out all these things that happened that ex-Tina would not enjoy. So I want to just say that too. Like, you may feel like this isn't working. You guys told me to visualize it, but now all these weird things are happening. Or that one friend that I thought was my friend that was going to travel with me, she's no longer my friend. Just trust the process of this.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to me because she probably would have been, you never know. You never know. Like sometimes you'll figure out why the things happen the way that they did. For me, I trained my brain to do that of like, oh, that happened because I needed to do this. Whether that's true or not, it just helps support my belief.
I agree. Well, and so what I think you're touching on is different points that are like aspects of the visualization. So you talked about the senses there of like seeing it, hearing it, feeling it. You talked about like this gentleman that you listened to of just being able to auditorily or hearing it, whatever.
You're the ear doctor. I don't know.
I know, we'll get there. So there's different senses that we're incorporating too. So it's not just like, oh, I hope this happens. And then like that hope is out there. It's this constant like rehearsal that you're having in your brain too. And I think you're like for you, the vision board is a good example because actually, is that it behind you? Yes. Other side.
Wait, where is that? Oh yeah, it's right here now.
I was like, your diploma? Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that.
And
But like seeing
No,
that,
what's this? Oh,
that's your
that's the mom. No,
diploma.
this isn't mirrored. This is now how it's set up.
Okay.
So this is my vision board right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have my other two over here.
Yeah. So like that mental rehearsal of you're seeing that every day because it's in your office. You work every day essentially. I'm practicing, I'm seeing it. And then when you're like even like a picture on it, you can see yourself doing whatever that image is provoking. So like for example, what we might say is when you're thinking about Christmas is coming up or a holiday, another holiday is coming up. And so as I'm practicing like the conflicting things, like maybe I have an aunt that always comments on my body every year. And so instead of like getting the anxiety about that, what I might do is journal it, like write it out, get it out of my brain, and then envision how I handle the situation. And so this goes back to the point you make. It might not turn out exactly that way, but there's a reason for it to turn out that way. So maybe we didn't handle it at 100% of what we wanted to do, but maybe it was 80%. Okay, so now we can visualize for the next year what that looks like too.
Yeah. No, and I love vision boards, of course. I've done them for a long time. And when I look at them, I mean, I've accomplished everything on those two and now just started this one. That visualization is super helpful. You also want to put it somewhere that you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Right. So like mine is in my office, like you had mentioned. Before I would have it at the end of my bed. So it was the first thing I saw in the morning. Or you can even just do a mental rehearsal, like using the meditation that I have, or just sit there and, like you said, okay, I'm going to give you a funny example. It's like when you have that fight with that one friend that you did something to you, you have that fight in your head, right? So you're like preparing yourself for like the whatever is going to happen. We're doing that, but in a positive way where you're mentally rehearsing how to say, thank you or not thank you. You can say, I know it's common for you to discuss other people's bodies, but I'm just asking that you not do it in front of me.
Yeah.
And like practicing that, because what's going to happen is, again, you have the rehearsal, but what rehearsal does, think about anything. Rehearsal, like as a dancer, helped me perfect my skill.
Oh, I'm
right?
sure. Oh, there's that study too that just popped into my mind of like sports where the basketball players, do you know what I'm talking about? Where the basketball players practice. So there was like 3 different groups. Like one group like actually went and practiced the free throws, we'll say. Another group just worked on the mental part, and another group just worked on the mental and the actual practicing part. And I think the mental and the practicing part actually performed better than the people who just went and practiced it. There's something, I forget exactly what it is, but I remember hearing about it and being like, oh, that's interesting. So like even, professional athletes, they'll envision the whole game and the strategy of going through it to like hopefully get the win that they're seeking.
Yeah. No, there's so much research on this, and it's kind of funny because I think a lot of people associate this with like that woo-woo kind of.
I know.
When it's, again, so the reticular activation system is the system in your brain that when you drive a new car, right? And it's a white 4Runner, then everywhere you go now, you notice white 4Runners, right? Or you're shopping. Well, now with social media, this makes it hard because now everything is popping up that you want because you've searched it, but you're shopping for new accent chairs. Now, everywhere you're going to see, those different accents. Or I have an example. We were out watching the ASU game and this guy walked by and he had a really awesome tattoos. And because I've been looking to get a new tattoo, it stood out to me, right? Where I may not have noticed his tattoos, but they were so clean that I went and talked to him and I got the tattoo artist number because I'm like, I'd like it to look really nice.
Yeah.
So that reticular activation system is actually a part of your brain. And what its job is to help filter out all of the information that we receive. So we're only focusing on what is familiar. And that is where that visualization comes in. So I just want to put that out there because a lot of people think it's like woo-woo when it's actually a part of how you're designed.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like a science-based model to it. that
Correct.
that we can refute the claim of woo woo.
Yes. So we talked about mental rehearsal, right?
Uh-huh.
So practicing it in your mind, seeing it on a vision board, engaging your senses. So
Mhm.
what does that look like is, imagine that you've already had that thing. What might you hear? What might you smell? What might, you taste? What might your body feel like physically?
Mhm.
Really try to get the whole body into it because again, your senses make sense of reality. So if we can get that part of our system in place, it's just going to, enhance that experience even more and make it more of a vivid type of experience itself.
Yeah, one thing that came to my mind just now is that like we're presenting this as like a thing that you consciously do, take the time to do, and or like you create this vision board with this in mind. But even I want to say like because I thought, okay, when we're engaging in these senses and smells, like we practice this with our clients of like we're going into a more nutrient dense Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever kind of calorically based meal. And so
Mhm.
when we're talking to them, how do you want to feel afterwards? That's
Yeah.
visualization too. And so it's not
Mhm.
necessarily making a vision board about like how I want to feel after I have pie, but it's more so of
Right.
like, how do we take it? Because even day to day of how do you want to feel afterwards? Like, how do you want to feel after we do this cut? Do you want to like feel like deprived and totally out of whack? Or do you want to feel like good and confident in your body, for example? That's a vision or a visual utilization of the visualization.
Right.
And so even like we're going into Christmas, we want to eat mindfully. You did a great podcast on this of like talking about strategies for these kinds
Mhm.
of foods and these kinds of meals. And so, but that all incorporates of like, how do we want to feel afterwards? How do we want to feel during? Like, how are we
Mhm.
present during? What sounds like your chocolate analogy is always a great one. Like, how does it taste in my mouth? Is it melty? What is the texture? What is the taste? And then how do I
Mhm.
feel when I am eating it too?
Yeah. No, I say this to my life coaching, like dating coaching clients is you're never going to, if you didn't receive the love you needed to receive in childhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're the one who has to recreate that experience in yourself. Because once you can recreate it in yourself, you can experience it in other
Oh, yeah,
people,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what we're doing here is like recreating or creating that experience in ourselves ahead of time. So then when we go to the Christmas dinner and we now have practiced in our minds eating mindfully, we're going to be better able to experience that
Mm-hmm.
rather than if we never do it and we're just like, oh yeah, I'm going to eat mindfully. Well, how do you know? You
Yeah.
have no, I use that word 10
Experience.
times, experience with it. And people are
Mm-hmm.
like, well, you didn't experience it. You just visualized it. Yes, you did. You created what that's going to feel like, look like, smell like, taste like in that moment. So when you're in it, you're like, oh, there it is. Or, oh, there it's not.
Right.
Right. And you now have the experience with feeling it and doing it, even though it's only in your head versus not.
Mm-hmm.
And that can also be really helpful when you're not in alignment with where you want to be because the visualization feels one way, right? And you're going, maybe you're like overdoing it, but because in your visualization you have the experience of staying in control, most likely, this doesn't work all the time, most likely be able to stop yourself if you are going in the wrong direction.
Well, and that's like going into our third aspect of it is like connection to your goals overall.
Mhm.
So, like stopping yourself. So, for example, you brought up the aunt who criticizes body, and then you have the comment of like,
Mhm.
"I just don't need you to say that around me, please."
Mhm.
Long story short, but what we can say is, okay, my goal is to create a boundary with my family members because of these communication that they do about body. And so if I
Mhm.
can create that goal, then I'm essentially working backwards of how does this feel like when I'm saying it? Like, do I get anxiety? Do I get the jitters? Like, okay, I'm aware of that. Like, how do I practice? But then now I'm actually practicing it over and over and over again. And so these prior two aspects of the mental rehearsal and the engaging of the senses that we're talking about build on connection to the goal. And like you were saying, of that they go into more so this is not what this is. This is not part of my goal.
Mhm.
If you don't have your goal defined, then we don't
Right.
know whether it serves it or not. And so
Mhm.
they all three work together in conjunction.
Absolutely. Uh, well, if you just think about that, like if we don't define the goal, then we don't have the kind of playbook, if you will,
Mhm.
to to feel like you're just, oh, I want to lose weight. And again, all of these podcasts that we've done over the past couple of weeks all, relate to each other. I just want to lose weight. No, we need to be more specific, and we need to be specific about the goal, and this specific about the experience of it, right? So I think that's really important. So ways you can incorporate visualization is in your morning routine, right? So you can sit and picture the day, picture your outcomes for the day. I love the Panda planner. It does actually, it's just a planner you can get on Amazon. It has a setting an intention portion of it, your gratitudes. It's one of my favorite planners just because every day it walks you through not necessarily this process, but aspects of it. Again, that guided meditation or app, everything from the, what is it called? Headspace.
Or Brain
and
FM.
Then
No,
Calm.
that's
Calm. YouTube, again, is a great place to find a guided meditation. And they have different ones from 5 minutes. The one I do is 10 minutes. I love it too because I can do it in the sauna. It's great. And it's 10 minutes and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Okay, hot. I'm hot.
Yeah. Well, and in the Panda Planner, there's also an aspect of affirmation, right? So, today is going to be a low stress day. Today, I am going to be productive. Today, I am going to take a 10-minute break after each lunch, or each meal, excuse me. So having affirmations, both, that you're writing down, but putting them in your environment. I have them on my phone, which is on my
this Panda planner.
Stall. Is it great?
Yeah. Another app I use is Insight Timer too for variety. So and it's free.
I have reminders on my phone that are my affirmations.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they say, let me see if I can pull them up here. Everything is happening for me. Everything is happening for me in the easiest and most harmonious way. Then the other one I have is I am passionately and joyfully pursuing my calling every day and continually achieving my goals. And they come to me at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day. So just setting that up. And if I'm walking and I have my headphones in, Siri reads them to me.
Oh, that's nice, Siri. I set up Siri today. I have never had it before, and now I have it.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, she's listening. Journaling, of course, as we already mentioned, is another way to do it. Okay, I have something to say about journaling. Let's see if I can find my little thing. This is my old one. This is the one I started with.
Okay.
I mean, look at it. It's like
it looks like a tattered Bible.
Yeah. So this is from 2015.
Damn.
March 31st through 4/6. So I would talk about things that were already going well and then talk about things I wanted as if they were already happening. So my feelings for Mark continue to grow. My trust continues to increase and our connection continues to progress. I continue doing great at work, having fun with friends, getting stuff done with my house, whatever. So intentions for the week, I would set them, but here's the big one. It is, and I think I've talked to you guys about this already. I am so grateful now that I'm in love with Mark and that our relationship continues to grow. His trust and vulnerability continues to grow with me. And then this is the big one. My career is both emotionally and financially freeing, right? And then things are already happening, like my family's healthy and strong. The people I care about are healthy. So I would write things that were true and that I wanted, right? So another thing I did, and you don't have to go this far, but I watched The Secret, and it says write it down as if you already have it. So I wrote out, at this time I was working as a therapist. I think I was making like $55,000 a year or some shit like that. I wrote out this for $100,000. It's like a little check that I wrote for myself. It says by the end of the month, and the month on here is 5/2015. At the end of May 2015, I received a job in sales where the starting salary was $100,000. Well, and by the way, the check is for $100,000. I received a job in sales with no sales experience, starting salary $100,000 plus commission. And that was at
Damn.
the end of this month.
There you go.
And we all know what happened with Mark.
Yeah.
So that's
He
how
built us
I
a
journal.
podcast studio.
He built us the whole podcast studio.
Yeah,
Did not work out for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Like,
He didn't work out because he was just doing this, and it's
oh my
finished.
gosh. He's a saint.
I know. He really is. He really
Yeah.
is, man. So the other thing is that, like we talked about, is vision board. So if you don't know how to build a vision board, I have them all the same because now I'm happy that they all look the same. Like I use the same frame from Michael's. I just get a scrapbook background. So I always do this green for money. You can't really see it. So it's money. And then I just get some magazines or I'll print stuff. And also at Michael's, they have like little affirmation stickers. And I just put it all in there and use my little glue gun. And I love them. I get to look at it every day. I get to see my visualizations. So what's your practice?
I just, like I said, I just make that list. So actually, here, let's pop it up. Let's go back. Because so like even, interesting. All right, I'm looking where you're like, oh, that's good. So I would do like, so for example, in September 22, I wanted to re-enter a promotion discussion, new supervisor role. Confident. I literally said confidence with self-worth, valuing it more, and then 5 new friends. I
was one of them.
Probably in 2020. I think
they said 2022.
No. 2020.
Oh, it's 2020. Gotcha.
So then like going back to financial, 3 months in December of 2020, my goal was to have $20,000 in savings. And so I got that. And then, so just like not stupid, I shouldn't say that. Stuff like that. So just a variety of things. But it's interesting because when we were first talking about this, I went back and looked. And for December 2024, I had baby. And then I had mental health okay and taken care of, which I feel pretty fortunate that my mental health right now is okay. And then I have no in-person clients and whatnot. So it's interesting because I planned that like a year before. Yeah. So I probably planned that in December of 2023, actually.
Yeah.
So it happens.
I think it's so important. You know, you have to believe that the things that you want are possible for you in order for you to ever get them. That's what it is at the end of the day. I know where my areas of struggle are that I don't believe. It's not that I don't believe, but I haven't. I was just thinking about this as we were talking. There's areas of struggle in my life that I need to begin to use this same practice for to feel a bit more confident in. Yeah. And so I'm gonna begin to do that, you guys. And I want you, our audience, to think about those 1 or 2 things that you want, and whether you are doing this with the guided meditation we'll link, affirmations each day, journaling. You can do a collection of these. I did all of these things when I was in my like healing era, and it was wonderful. It literally saved my life. And not just the visualization, but the change of my mindset, that I did not have to live in that brain of less than, everything was, the world was against me and taking from me, was what my mindset was. And instead I went into the opposite direction, and here we are. So,
well, and I think one last thing too on that, as you're talking, because I'm like, I think it's really important that what the audience hears is like, you have to get it out, like, of your brain. Like, don't be like, okay, I hope to fall in love this year. You know what I mean? Like, put it on paper or make the board or journal. Like, get it somewhere where it's concrete for you to reflect. And even if it's not necessarily like a goal, but like visualization. So studies show that it helps reduce anxiety, nervous tension, stress, and depression. It helps improve performance. So even like with the gym, like maybe you want a back squat of 135 pounds, like that's a goal this year. So it's more so of, but we have to somehow have a concrete example or like a reference point rather of what that is.
Yeah. No, I think that I was looking at what you were talking about love, right?
Uh-huh. I think I had love in here too.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I don't want
Some of these
to.
are fun.
I
Get
know.
therapy notes done.
Let's see if
Continue
I have
feeling
a
loved and appreciated. I do have this in here, you guys. So I was dating Mark and another guy at the same time. And I did
baller.
like yeah. Well, and I told them all that I was, because I was an adult.
Uh-huh.
I would put like pros and cons of each.
Oh yeah.
And so Mark won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, it's an amazing coping skill. Obviously, I mean, again, it's practice, it's rehearsal. You do it for your, speaking engagements. You do it for, like I was talking about dance, but we don't do it in all aspects of our lives. But the more we practice, the better we will be at approaching whatever situation with that is, the more that our brains will be aware that it's happening. It is familiar in the brain, so the brain will keep looking for it. That's another piece we didn't touch on. We also want to pay attention to any input that is supporting our goal.
Mhm.
That is one very important thing. Inspired thought too. So any like input from the outside. So I guess input from others or the environment. Pay attention to that when it is in alignment with your goal. So say that you want to back squat 100 and whatever pounds, and you see someone at the gym and their back squat looks really great. Maybe you go up to them and talk to them, or maybe you just kind of pay attention to them, right? Because that's a part of your goal. So we need to look at what is out there that's supporting my goal. So my example with the job, we were on a beach in Mexico. I was looking, as I already wrote down in my intentions, for financial and emotional freedom. Being a therapist, unfortunately, at that time did not provide that for me. And when I was on a beach in Mexico drinking tequila with my friends, one of their friends said, "Oh my God, you're obviously in sales, right?" And I said, "No." She goes, "Wait, what? What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a therapist." She goes, "Oh, no, no, no. You need to come work for me." I already intended it. I visualized it, and boom, there was that inspired situation, right?
Mhm.
So I contacted her, and that's how the whole thing happened. But also inspired thought. I wholeheartedly, and this is you're gonna laugh at this. This is at a fault for me because I have so much inspired thought that I tend to, and Amanda already talked about this. Like, I'm like, what about this? What about this? It's because I believe so much, and like I'm intending for these things to happen, and I have all these thoughts in my head, and so I'm like, maybe that's the thing, maybe we do it this way. And so luckily, I have some sounding boards for all my inspired thought, but sometimes you will get a wild hair up your ass, and that will be the thing that will actually help you hit your goal. So listen to yourself and trust your thoughts as well.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
All right, good. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do want to try the visualization I do, it's awesome. I love it so much. We'll put that in the show notes. And if you like this episode, again, please share with anyone or give us a 5-star rating and review. Again, that's going to help us to get this out to more people. For the month of December, we are offering an introductory price to our Mindset Movement, our group coaching program that I've been talking about. This is the release, y'all. This program is going to include 2 group coaching calls each week. It is the only program that I know of that's group coaching that offers that much support. You will get custom nutrition programming. You will get access to the on-demand training program, which includes 5 gym workouts, 5 at-home workouts. I'm going to do a 3-day at home as well. 3-day time crunch, or 3 time crunch, 3 core, and 3 body weight or band workouts. So really, you get to decide what movement you want to do. There will also be access to the community forum and other fun things. For our introductory pricing, we are offering this for $275 a month, which, I missed the big part. You also get freaking access to the mindset method curriculum so that you can work on your visualization and your mindset, come to the group calls with me, and get actual coaching around how to make this work for you. So, introductory offer, we're only going to be offering this, I believe, until the month of February, I think we decided. But for now, I don't know. Maybe I'll just change it. I can do whatever I want. But for now, you're going to get it at $275 a month. That includes everything that we talked about. So very exciting. It's definitely a different option than one-to-one coaching. Not as hands-on, but gives you kind of the experience of coaching with us in a group setting. So check out the show notes for that link. Give us a follow on Instagram, Mindset Matter Coaching, on Fit by Amanda.az for Amanda, and our new YouTube page, the Mindset Mirror Connection, which is our old YouTube page, but it has a different name, right?
Yeah, we're revamping, and then you're getting your own YouTube page.
Then I'll have my own.
Probably going to get your own YouTube page. We got a lot of YouTube pages now, so we should have 4 by the end of this month.
Amanda is crushing the YouTube. So, other than that, I hope that you realized that what you put in your head is what you get in your reality, and it's exactly why we tell you each week this one thing.
What you say in the mind,
you see in the mirror. Goodbye.
Bye.